In 2008, the FBI founded the Fringe Division, a secret division that's dedicated to researching the mysterious phenomenon known as the pattern. Join us as we follow one specific team of this division in uncovering a rapidly spiraling conspiracy in the Fringe Files with Cassandra of the Void. This is just at the foundation, isn't it? Dusty, the rat catcher.
Oh, was I supposed to have a line for this again?
And Teletran 4.
What great loss we're experiencing today.
And I just want, before you even go into the notes, like, did you know that there's just in the Foundation universe, the U.S. government's division is just also straight up a division of the FBI?
Oh wow, I actually didn't know that.
I imagine it's X-Files' effect on public consciousness that did that.
It's called the Unusual Incidents Unit. And honestly, the more I'm rediscovering of this show, the more I'm just, this is just what they're doing while the Foundation's doing all their bullshit. This is just happening in the background over in the FBI.
Yeah, that makes sense. Out. Also, for future reference, maybe you should write down the general intro on.
I know. I've been meaning to.
The notes would help make it just a little cleaner.
Yeah, my bad.
Or maybe just we record a standard intro and leave the blank spots in the audio file for quotes.
We'll do that next time. And going into our first episode 7 of season 1.
Yeah, my first reaction to the whole parasite thing was, well, that looks unhealthy. Risk of the job, I suppose.
I wrote down the chapter names again. This time they spelled codes. It took longer than usual to get to the freaky shit, though.
Yeah, it did surprise me.
I like to seeing how much Peter's starting to warm up to his father again.
That much is nice. It's quite wholesome.
And I just have the notes of just Walter. My genuine reactions of Walter. Of course, you know what's going on. It's Walter. Oh, he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah. See, I was thinking, man, you made the right call bringing this guy. He probably made this. Chances are he's got the blueprints lying around somewhere in that car.
God, imagine how much harm the villains could do if they just sat back and just emptied his waste paper basket occasionally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I really hope Pete thought to buy a shredder.
Oh yeah, I Astrid probably did.
Yeah, that seems like the kind of part of the job is hers.
Yeah, she'd have just seen how she'd have just been piling up to shred it later and just to shred it offsite and just go and just no, Director Broyles, we need a full InfoSec team on site.
I think at that point, really, the InfoSec team that you need is just Astrid on hand to say, listen, are you done with this? Okay, I'm going to put it in the little inferno now.
Yeah, I mean, just like official classification is, this isn't top security. Not as like, oh, not top security. No, I mean, as in, this would cause so much damage if it got out. Half the shit he just invents casually.
Yeah.
I will say I find it hilarious that almost every anomaly in this set of episodes is something I have on my old F-list profile.
Oh no.
I'm still thinking, if you put this into a CAD file, and 3D printed it, it's a functioning von Neumann machine.
That's true. That's true. Also, I guess ZFT are bioterrorists.
Yeah, like I was saying with the Foundation comparisons, like we already have our first major group of interest, you know?
Yeah.
Well, second group of major interest, because fucking Massive Dynamic should be under more suspicion than it is. Broyles, you are trusting them too much.
Yeah, that's like very clearly.
And I just had to note that for my notes, the Caesar Shift would be an excellent name for a rock band.
That's true.
It would, although I want to point out that, like, at this point, your supposed cryptext is basically a single codon over and over again. What you've got there is a key. You basically invented a cryptext to go with it.
Oh, yeah. Also, the observer cameos are starting to seem a lot more obvious in the background / foreground.
Yeah, I think I mentioned in a previous episode, I feel almost like going back and seeing if he's there in previous episodes. Yeah, I bet you could tell me, Cass, is he?
I genuinely keep missing him. I'm terrible at noticing them.
Yeah, I've gotten terrible at noticing.
Well, I guess they're doing their job.
I'm the one that are observing. Is what you're saying?
Maybe.
Honestly, with me, yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, they're probably freaking the fuck out about the hotel manifesting in their reality. I should work on that.
So it wasn't the crane.
Well, we did have that weird thing burrow up in the foyer. Did you notice?
Yeah, but it smelled fine, so I left it.
Fine. I'll just get the floor fixed later. Anyway,
I swear, if you guys end up with a marker in there, I'm just going to cut all contact with you.
Look, if we get any markers going full deep quarantine, that's another pocket universe.
Fair enough.
That's the thing with the dead bodies in the outer space, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take care of those.
Anyway, what with the whole, what did you think of the whole device they bullshitted up in this episode?
Okay, so that was basically just a glove box for handling the parasite, or am I remembering wrong?
The thing for speaking with the dead guy.
Oh, that's old machinery. I thought it was pretty cool though.
Yeah, but the way it was presented here, I mean.
Oh yeah.
Once again, something that was on my F-list profile.
God,
you had the seance bathtub on your F-list profile?
I mean,
don't get us demonetized, please.
My channel's not even monetized to begin with at this point.
Yeah, but it'll probably count against you. Let's be real.
I think my using the S word right at the start of the episode probably did more damage than the words seance bathtub.
Okay, fair. And yeah, our new something tells me the guy in the prison is going to be a major recurring villain.
Oh yeah. Well,
he makes me really uncomfortable.
Debatably villain, honestly, from what I saw. Debatably villain.
Yeah, he's got a vibe to him.
And I will say, Broyles criticizing Olivia for having gotten so fucking attached and over emotional on past cases really seems fucking hypocritical after this episode.
I think it's a little different when she got tied up in active combat bullshit. This is more, what the fuck, someone poisoned my friend. It's more an outside attack that isn't actively plunging into certain danger and honestly kind of going a bit beyond what an FBI agent should to do the job.
To be fair, though, but to also be fair here, though, it does seem like Broyles' friend has the exact same problem John Smith did of being a fucking traitor.
Yeah, something tells me that's going to be a trend.
Well, yeah, it's a show that's allegedly about intrigue that J.J. Abrams directed. Of course it is. I thought it was kind of strange that an anthelmintic in the IV seemed to be out of the question. Like, I mean,
you'd think it would at least like weaken it a little, or at least like slow the spread of the tendrils.
I mean, most of the anthelminthics on the market work by paralyzing invertebrates. So, I mean, it doesn't just kill the thing, but it kills it in a way that immediately makes it a non-threat. So it seems like after that, you could just kind of snip it out of there, right?
You
can't squeeze his heart no more.
I guess you'd think if it was artificially created, they'd put in some kind of, if dying, clamp down before the paralytic, if even detect it, clamp down before the paralytic can kick in.
Well, I mean, given the way it directly acts on the nervous system, making it immune would be a necessary precondition to that, even.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also, my first thought when Peter was drawing the message he saw was just, so the gentleman lives in loss.
Oh.
Show him the edit.
Oh yeah, I'll just post that in the Discord real quick.
It's probably gonna be a thumbnail.
Oh no. They couldn't even make it that one, like, where they adjust the positions of the lines to make it a single glyph.
No, I had to make it blatantly obvious for that.
Oh, all right.
That has to be the thumbnail.
It does.
God,
also,
now I'm just imagining I just want to say for an alternate joke because that just made me think of a different Control-Alt-Delete joke from this episode.
Oh no!
Or, like the guy in the hospital bed, his wife comes into him, and you know what instead she whispers to him, "You hear about video games?" Him throwing his arms up.
Oh my god!
Ow!
Also, one of the thoughts I had when Olivia went to Germany was just, okay, yeah, you have a bad habit of getting personally and romantically involved with work interests, don't you?
Yeah, she's just, she should not be on this case at all, should she?
Daddy issues.
She is so fucked up emotionally right now.
I mean, relatable, but moving on.
Also, I found it amusing when they were preparing to hook Peter up to the machine. He's not planning to stop your heart, Peter. He's just warning you that it's a distinct possibility.
To be fair, I can understand why Peter was already a little on edge after learning that, oh yeah, he used to do this on me before when I was a kid.
The whole exchange made no sense to Walter because accumulating data is experimenting on his son. They're the same thing.
Yeah.
I love how well they portray the fact that Walter isn't just some generic crazy. He genuinely has his own distinct thought process that you can sort of follow.
Yeah.
I guess you could say he's sort of neurodivergent coded.
Yeah, he actually feels like someone would after, dementia on top of he fried his brain with how much shit and is still doing that?
Legitimately relatable despite the gram amounts of LSD.
Yeah.
You can see which wires are crossed. I also felt it necessary to point out that this has had the least horrifying deaths of any Fringe episode so far. There was still one fatality, but it was a pretty mundane kind.
Oh yeah, just a shot to the head. That's super mundane.
Yeah, like, as killing people goes, like, we didn't melt a plane full. This is great.
Yeah.
Progress.
I'm just imagining some of just background agents from the Fringe division having that conversation like, well, we didn't have to mop any disintegrated corpses off the floor this time, so I think we can consider this one a win.
Only one guy died. It was just because he got shot, and it happened off-site.
Although, one other thing that I'll note is whatever organization John Smith and Royal's friend have been working for, god damn, what is with it and their habit of putting themselves in fucking mortal anomalous danger for the sake of just such small amounts of information?
Well, I mean, when the alternative is no information, it's understandable.
I don't know. I wouldn't fucking poison myself with a fucking centipede monster for the sake of this information.
Now, I will admit that I watched this in preparation for the last episode due to a miscommunication, but I'm not sure he did that on purpose.
You know, that's fair.
I think it was meant for broils.
You know, that would actually make sense. Like, he has an emotional connection to everyone on the Fringe team, so that would encourage them all to work harder.
And if he gets eliminated, I think whoever they're working for might be a different party from Massive Dynamic. I don't think Massive Dynamic is the ones behind the big things. They have their own agenda, but something tells me they're not the big bads here.
Yeah, they're screwing around, but their goal is profit.
Oh, yeah.
I have noted here that I absolutely loved the ending, but like I said, I watched this longer ago than the other episodes by a long shot.
Anyway, any notes for this episode before I move on?
None here?
No, not really.
Anyway, moving on to episode 8.
One last thing, actually.
Okay, Columbo.
Umbrella would make a fantastic antagonist for the Fringe division.
Oh god, just imagine you're just watching some episode and suddenly Olivia's teaming up with Leon Kennedy.
Oh, I would love that so much.
God, here's a video idea for one of those character switcheroo things. Fringe and Resident Evil. Switch Leon Kennedy and Olivia Dunham.
I was just thinking Agent Ada Wong, Fringe Division, pleased to make your acquaintance.
Oh, that would work really well. And that would actually explain why she's, like, working behind the scenes against both Umbrella and the BSA a lot of the time.
It would.
Really, I just think given the Resident Evil access to the logic of the Resident Evil universe, Olivia would instantly start dealing with enemies just by suplexing them to death.
You know, I can believe that.
She would have just gone into all the fights in these episodes and just suplexed them.
Yeah, she definitely seems like the sort that would see a zombie monk and be like, yeah, I'm going to crush your head with my thighs and suplex you off this roof.
Nice.
I can't tell whether I should make a Final Fantasy VI joke or a joke about knife-only runs.
Oh, my gosh.
They're both thoroughly half-baked anyways.
God, someone just mods RE4 remix you play as Olivia.
I could see it.
But yeah, that episode 8, that opening is just depressing horror.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The first note that I have here is, oh boy, today's gruesome event is going to involve a child.
Oh, yeah, and just, I was just utterly mortified when the guy just was hypnotized by this person's car. What the fuck?
Was that on your F list profile?
Well, that's more mundane than the parasitism.
I was just gonna joke about car hypnosis specifically.
Not car hypnosis specifically, unless you count mind wipe, but no, he's a robotic bat.
I was gonna say, like, listen, I know Tiv. I know about Transformers.
I was going for specifically, like, just that weird, like, just random highway car. I'm gonna shut up now.
I do not have a thing for non-sapient cars, Cassandra.
I was joking. Anyway.
I thought it looked like a trouble code, so I would have fallen for this, although I might have looked away in order to look up on my phone what the trouble code was.
Trouble code. White noise.
God.
You know, that seems to me like the most absurdly comic relief of Transformers. Trouble code.
Honestly, that would be a good Transformer name.
Save that one for a tech spec.
Oh, maybe. Maybe if I find a Diaclone figure that speaks to me in that way.
I also initially mistook the enormous lights because they're perfectly round and have a kind of a texture to them. And so I initially mistook them for being really close to the camera because I thought that they were some kind of bokeh. But no, it's just huge lights. All the better to mesmerize you and steal your child with.
My god.
And moving into the rest of the episode, just is it? And I just want to say that the advertising agency trying to hire Walter to hypnotize people into buying their products, that just makes this seem even more foundation-y to me.
Oh yeah, of course.
Go on.
I was going to say, of course, if the Foundation had been involved in all of this stuff, Walter would have not been in that insane asylum nearly as long as he was in the past.
Yeah, he'd be working for them.
Exactly!
Yeah, that is kind of where they recruit from, isn't it? Although, it may be worth noting that is partially historically based, because advertising companies did attempt to insert subliminal messaging into advertisements. It's just that they don't work all that great.
Yeah, for me, it's more, oh yeah, advertising agencies in anomalous settings would do that, wouldn't they?
Oh yes, absolutely. It's any kind of mind control is an advertising company's dream.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I had listed here, I was wondering if you could hook the amnesiac victims up to Walter's seance bathtub. Hey, have we lost Cass?
Well, I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you could manage to get the information. Well, the information would theoretically still be there in the amnesiac victims, just in a repressed part of their psyche, so you could theoretically use the seance bathtub to get them to access that portion of their memories.
But what Walter does specify later that overuse could cause damage. Do you think that's specific to Olivia's case or any overuse of it?
Probably any overuse, but at the same time, if you just use it once, it would probably be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just need a subject other than Olivia, because it's my understanding that it's repeated use that stands a chance of causing permanent harm.
That makes sense.
So this time we can just throw Astrid in it, and then Peter. And then we're going to have to start rotating Astrid's position with the rest of the department.
Man, imagine having to deal with that being one of your new responsibilities at work.
Get naked, get in the seance tub.
Get naked and get in the...
Well, high as balls.
Get in the seance tub, Shinji, or Asuka will have to do it again.
Oh my gosh.
the Fringe division, but they have to deal with that bullshit going on.
God, they just have to seance tub with one of the angels' corpses.
Oh, jeez.
Kind of like they had to drift with the kaiju brain in Pacific Rim.
Exactly what I was thinking of, actually.
Yeah, actually, same. I think it would have the same deleterious side effects, though.
Walter trying to bootleg his way into an Evangelion, I guess.
Yikes.
Oh god, just Walter would probably have developed like half of it, let's be real.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, my notes on the insane asylum when we got there was just, wow, this warden is an enormous prick. And convinced that, anything that his subjects say, which probably actually happened for a lot of them, is just them being off the goop. Despite multiple records of evidence of Walter's pseudoscience being real.
Yeah, he's not very open-minded, but then in his position, frankly, it would pay not to be.
But at the same time, being at least refusing to believe that any of them could be telling the truth. I guess refusing to believe mentally ill people is just a problem in that sort of field in general.
It's a problem in that sort of field in general because certain mental illnesses have a lot to do with hallucination, and as soon as you put them into that bucket, it's going to be hard to take them seriously. And let's be honest here, this is an SCP Foundation. Half of the stuff that's being babbled by the people at a mental institution are the cognitive hazards that put them there.
Yeah, fair.
Speaking of cognitive hazards, I wrote down earlier in the episode, all I want for Christmas is you as a meditation.
Oh, that honestly just reminds me that I need to get a Potteroo version of my avatar made at some point.
Same.
That's, I think technically, as a little white angry dog, I'm already a Paddleroo.
Yeah, that checks out.
I'm just a Paddleroo of other kinds of dog.
Also, I am slightly concerned that Dr. Sumner could actually end up being trouble in a later season. Probably as, like, either a season finale issue or a season opener issue again.
I would imagine season opener issue because he's the kind of threat that's a convenient idiot.
Oh, yeah. Either that or he's going to end up getting killed by something anomalous somewhere down the line.
I think... You first.
I think his defense mechanisms are a little bit too robust to allow for that. He doesn't believe nothing people tell him.
I wanted to say for for the kid, at least he had that good Superman show to watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's Superman. There's also what came next.
Yeah, that was that was fucked up.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Using a kid's dead mother that way, or rather specifically, she had to have been actively manipulating his memories of her for the hallucination to know the nickname she had for him and everything.
Yeah.
And the injuries that she had from the car accident.
Yeah. That is straight up fucking evil.
Yeah, it's imaginative and
yeah, that's incredibly hellish.
This story's really good at coming up with incredibly creative ways to make you uncomfortable.
Oh, fantastic at it. Also, I was impressed by how thoroughly and repeatedly Walter failed that interrogation. I believe you felt bad about your character rolling low in that tabletop game or that 5e campaign, but like Walter just managed 3 or 4 nat ones in a row, man.
Walter just has natural disadvantage on those kinds of checks, and you know it.
Yes, but also that's a lot of nat ones in order.
Oh yeah, I'm saying he has had disadvantage and rolled 2 ones anyway.
Yeah.
He's just lucky that Olivia had a high insight roll when it came to the Red Castle thing.
That was pretty literal, honestly. I had written down here, Red Castle really isn't nothing.
Honestly, my brain just interpreted it as like one of the Disco Elysium, like, visual calculus. Success!
See, part of my brain just defaulted to, is that what they call White Castle in the Fringe universe if Boston Dynamics is massive dynamic? And
that took me a second.
I was severely worried that possibly this child was being held in the basement of a shitty fast food restaurant.
Hey, now, White Castle is great. Although I have seen that one text meme that's floating around that somebody realizing that White Castle flavor crystals are actually chopped onions.
I've never been to White Castle.
Was that not active knowledge for them prior?
It was not. It was presented as a stunning revelation.
Ah.
They apparently knew them previously as simply White Castle flavor crystals, a mysterious, tasty ingredient that went on the burger.
Wow.
Yeah.
Also,
you first.
I was just going to say, for personal uses, can I get the wavelength of those green and red lights?
Yeah, you cut to you just breaking into the lab after this episode and just running out with that box over your head. And honestly, I just want to note when early in the episode, I was like, wow, is the kid hearing the pattern in the music? Like, as if it's like, I thought like the code was like the representation of the pattern.
Nope, it's just software. Although I should point out that honestly, a piece of calculus, rather large and complex piece of calculus, does not make as much sense for being hidden in a piece of music as machine code does. Like, It seems like machine code would make considerably better music if a little bit more disjoint.
Yeah. And I mean,
maybe the reason they couldn't get it before was the math wasn't the right way to bring it in after all.
Well, I mean, no, they input it into the machine in the form of a rather long, extensive calculus expression.
Honestly, this is the point where I just go, fuck it, they broke math, I guess.
I mean, in theory, you could obfuscate software that way, but that's not how I'd choose to do it.
I guess maybe that's how the observers would do it, in a way that no one else would.
I don't know, that seems like human technology. If it's a little anomalous, I think it's still... I would expect the software as well to be a little bit more human than that.
I just found it interesting that the software's effects seem to be causing particles to vibrate at a frequency at which they can phase through other particles. It's basically just giving an object flash capabilities temporarily.
I mean, it would make sense that the machine is doing that and the software is necessary to operate it accurately. But also, that is a heck of a way to... That's not how programming is usually done, fellas. Or else, EA would have a lot worse things on their plate right now.
EA Games stock has fallen after their latest game caused a localized breakdown in physics.
Oh, I was just thinking that they were discovered to have multiple devs strapped up in EKG machines, typing on cardboard keyboards and crying.
Yeah, yeah, that I'd believe even more.
Oh no.
I really wish I could put that past them if labor laws were any weaker, just. But no, that probably did happen in that universe, didn't it? God, just Fringe sequel, but it's about like an older director, Olivia, having to deal with companies using the anomalous in everyday bullshit.
God, they have to prevent Disney from kidnapping George Lucas to generate loot boxes for Battlefront 2.
I was just figuring that the substance of the next episode would that would absolutely get packed in as a feelie for a cyberpunk video game, and it would absolutely get multiple buyers killed and provoke a huge consumer product safety lawsuit.
Yeah, I guess that takes us into episode 9, Attack of the Ghost Butterflies, which I would like to propose as our title.
Makes sense as a title. It's got shades of the Cowboy Bebop movie at first, though.
Honestly, at the first intro and everything, my main notes were, ah, yes, Butterfly of Violence. Mini Batra lives! Which, Batra is the evil version of Mothra from the Heisei Godzilla movies.
Basically think of Batra as Mothra's shitty younger brother.
Yeah, I'll admit my remark immediately after the most beautiful butterflies was, that one's got a knife, though.
And then at the note of, there's a swarm, so it's swarm, so I said, so it's the fairy Batras.
Tying it, but because this episode is official Merry Minis tie-in.
I also noticed, I also wrote down here, the animals can be venomous. Now that you've swatted that thing, you should take it to a doctor. Why are you getting closer to the vent, you moron?
Yeah, that was a pretty dumb move on his part.
Why did you think getting curious about that was a good idea? Do you not know that you're in the SCP TV show?
You'd think since he's one of the rising stars in Massive Dynamic, that would be obvious to him.
You'd think. He works for Extensalife. They're trying to monetize that one SCP that makes the flesh beasts.
Oh my god, you think he's just marketing SCP-610? The flesh that hates?
No, it's, you know what? I've gotten confused. I believe it's the red pill that made the amulet that made 610.
The amulet is Dr. Bright. You know, the guy who can't die for good?
Yeah, no, the amulet, if you wear it for too long, it turns you into the flesh beast.
Oh, like, because it heals the flawed copy of the 500 pills that heal you.
The 500 pills. That's what he's trying to market. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
The little red pills. That's 500, isn't it?
Yeah, they have the bottle of pills that heal you perfectly, no side effects. They don't know where they came from. They can't make more. They only have a set amount forever.
Yeah, well, it turns out I figured out where they're making them, guys.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The problem is they killed the guy who invented it.
With butterflies.
Lots of them.
Well, hallucinated butterflies.
Yes.
So was he just really I guess Monarch they were stalking him to get him why do all that effort to set up the butterfly motif?
Well, I know that it was a lead.
Was he just really scared of butterflies?
Maybe he actually had seen Batra. Maybe Heisei Godzilla is canon to Fringe.
Yeah, he just got scared shitless by kaiju movies as a kid.
That makes sense. Either that, or he had one of those irrational terrors about dying from a million paper cuts, and also realized that, butterfly wings, if they were just a little bit stiffer, could totally get that sharp.
Yeah, just had he had a nightmare about butterflies made of razors once.
I mean, considering that when Olivia picked up his notebook, and I guess got a little bit of a contact high and witnessed undead butterflies animated by the dreadful words of a dead man.
True.
I just have one more thing to say, though. You would not believe your eyes if 10 million butterflies sliced you to death as you fell asleep.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that he might have a recurring nightmare about his collection reanimating and murdering him.
That would make sense, and I just want to of course it happens at Massive Dynamic.
Yeah, and the drugs also explain why the butterflies were surreally beautiful, because holy cow, did you see that thing?
Yeah.
It was really pretty. Deadly things often are.
Yeah.
And all of that is rapidly followed with ghost email.
Yep.
I get that it's a dramatic character moment, but there's something so funny to me about yes, how we have the dead contact our character here. Ghost email.
I once played bass for Ghost Email.
That seems surprisingly believable, actually. I thought it was kind of funny when they're talking in the hotel room, and Walter's trying to warn her off of abusing the seance tub, but it's like, listen, if I don't use the seance tub to get my dead ex out of my head, then I'm going to use something blunter.
Oh yeah. I do not know how I'd feel about having a dead ex inside of my head. That would be really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, at some point it's just worth the risks.
And Tiv, I'm gonna be real with you. I really hope your lifestyle does not have many chances of one of your partners somehow turning out to be either part of or secretly hunting an secret organization, and I don't know, fucking Breaking Bad or whatever the fuck John Scott was doing, and I don't know, dying and end up leaving a copy of their memories in your brain.
I mean, you know some of my partners. Would that really surprise you for some of them?
I don't know about the criminal enterprise, but I think that it's a given that at some point, one of them is going to end up leaving copies of their memories in your brain.
Yeah, but at least it's less traumatic when they're not betraying you.
Okay, yes.
I just feel like the whole collection of it is what makes it so weird.
Yeah, all that stuff stacked on top of itself. If she's not self-medicating, maybe she should be.
There's also another fact that we do know that John is alive after that first episode in the care of Massive Dynamic.
Or at the no, they were just pulling it out of his corpse.
Yeah, he was. It was less than 6 hours dead.
Oh
They
yeah.
They were just taking a memory dump.
Yeah, they have their own seance bathtubs, much higher quality. They probably change the water a little more often. Like, that was concerningly murky when she got in at this time. When Walter pulled out the Bible, I thought it was hilarious that he is fixing to literally turn the undead. With science.
Oh, and when Olivia found the frogs, my first thought was plague time. But then
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go on. Oh, I was actually looking for my notes about the frogs because I made a bunch of notes about the frogs. Go on.
Oh yeah, but then we got into the part where it's like, oh yeah, the frogs actually are important. And then I was like, oh, all glory to Hypnotoad!
Just the drone.
Yeah, I saw. Okay, yeah, boxes of toads. That's weird. And then shortly later, I feel like I'm going clinically insane. Okay, Liv, you got to understand. He's going to think this is about the frogs. You have to tell them that they're dead. The dead dude's frogs.
Yeah.
Thankfully, good evidentiary practice is good evidentiary practice for a reason, and the frogs were actually important.
Yeah, she didn't just go crazy and buy a bunch of frogs on her own.
Yeah, they're the dead dude's frogs. They are part of the investigation. I swear. Found them in his basement.
Because a ghost sent me an email.
You know,
from my brain.
I mean, you know...
Yeah, now we're getting into the actual insanity.
When it comes to the email part of it, though, like, emails are something you can find tangible evidence of, you can see where they're sent from, and you can show them to someone else. If it is just in her brain, then she should be able to, like, just hand her phone or ask someone to look at her computer themselves to see if they see the email. If they do, then it's not just in her brain.
Yeah.
They are definitely just in her brain, I think.
Yeah, almost certainly. I did also notice when she was in the seance bathtub, wouldn't having a voice in her ear break the sense of depth.
I think it's more to at least just the hypnosis. It's hard to do the plot without ignoring that, you know?
Yeah, that's true. You're right. She has to have some form of dream radio. Also, I see nothing. Okay, let me just turn up the power.
Yeah. Also, like, I'm still really unclear on whether or not John is, like, a sapient presence inside of her brain or not. It's really not clear, and Walter insists it's not possible, but I don't know.
I mean, the thing is that brains are hardware, and if they've got some of John's software, there's no reason they wouldn't have more of John's software, which makes this a very fuzzy, upsetting ethical situation.
Yeah, like, by purging him from Liv's mind, are they essentially killing him a second time?
This is definitely a valid question. Does the copy of him that's in there experience continuity of consciousness? 2, shortly after his own death, which would arguably make it the same John.
And, like, if they're at the memory dump over at Massive Dynamic, is there another copy of him in their databases now, basically?
Well, I think they have to use another person as the receiving end of the seance bathtub, so that would just mean that they have an employee walking around who is just the designated John Brain.
Designated John Brain.
Oh, yeah, it's my week to be John Scott, I guess.
At least you get paid massive overtime.
Oh my gosh.
If I get offered any internships at Massive Dynamic, remind me to turn them down. I don't want to be John Scott.
You could just give them one of your spare bodies, and John Scott has to just be like a goat for a while.
Yeah, but like John Scott though, is he really worth that kind of effort on my part?
Depends how much they're paying, but it's an internship, so they're not, so no.
But yeah, anything else about these notes beyond ghost murder?
Yeah, like this time, like the Hispanic person that ended up actively hallucinating John killing him, but like a glowing ghost John? Like, is he actively fearing John will resurrect from the dead as like some sort of Superman?
Yeah, do they think? Yeah, does he actively believe in ghosts?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily have to. Bad trips get weirder and worse than that. It's just that an assassination by bad trip is exceptionally horrible. Yikes.
Yeah, that is a clever one.
I just wonder how they got the toad residue into his room so effectively and quickly.
Right at the start of the scene, you see a nurse come add something to his IV.
Ah, that makes sense.
Like, they poisoned him directly on screen.
I just assumed it was his actual medicine, honestly.
Yeah, I think everyone else did too.
Hey, maybe even the nurse.
I'm almost certain it was the nurse, because it was the same nurse who walked back in later and was confused and horrified that this man's neck had just exploded in front of her.
Yeah. I mean, that's a natural thing to be confused and horrified by.
So it indicates that you're right. She wasn't in on it.
Exactly. I did like the realistic depiction of firearms when Pete was... this is 2008, too, so this is before it got to be a meme that guns and media are treated like some kind of ridiculous magic. Because when he was threatening his ex's abusive husband, he didn't rack the slide on the pistol until he was ready to dump the live round out of the chamber.
Yeah, that's fair. That is a nice attention to detail there.
And it makes sense that he actually, know how to not be an idiot.
Yeah, what's impressing me here is that the writers know how to not write him as an idiot. Because, typical Hollywood would be, right before he points the weapon at the dude, you cock the slide, because that's how you show someone with a pistol means business.
That, or it somehow just makes a weird clicking noise, just dramatic noise, as he just pulls it up somehow.
Yeah, I mean, that one is just audio language. There's a reason when they have dog attacks in movies, and whatnot, they play the sound of dogs playing.
Yeah.
Because reality is unrealistic sometimes, and one of the ways that reality is unrealistic is that guns are quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Until they're terrifyingly loud.
And yeah, I did write some notes about how Peter's past is seemingly catching up to him, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was happening last episode, too. Like, there was some dude at the cafe he had to go fuck up or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they've been foreshadowing that for a bit.
Something tells me he might actually have done a few things for one of those groups of interest without realizing it.
Yeah,
without realizing it? I'm willing to bet he's just straight up keeping it a secret, partly because he regrets it.
Yeah. I don't know, even then he would have had some limits.
Oh yeah, almost certainly. But I mean, there were plenty of folks who did one thing, and then that's it. Or at least tried to. Also, when they used the phone number to track the dude down, technically that's a violation of FCC code, because they showed the area code and everything, so somebody in Pennsylvania with a particular phone number is at risk for harassment. I believe that this is a known issue from, for example, 867-5309.
I think they just stopped using that for good. They just delisted it entirely.
I should hope so. The problem is that, using real phone numbers, like, hang on, is maybe 666 acceptable for that? No, because they actually use 666 numbers. I knew someone who had one.
Seriously?
It's worse than that. It's, hang on, I need to refer to a phone pad real quick, because it gets better than that. There's it was 666. I don't think it's still listed, but I think that's a violation of some kind of broadcast code too.
You don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, I was going to do some further edits to this one anyway, since I wanted to have the lost thing appear on screen.
Yeah, it'd be a good idea to cut that part of the audio out. That is a bad thing. Make a note of it so you don't forget, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just cut this out too. Anyway, any more notes before we finish up this episode? Because I don't really have many more for this last episode of 3.
Beware the brain ghosts. That's all I can say.
The when Olivia was talking to Walter again, saying she needs to go back in the tank, that line needed a redelivery. The A in tank was pronounced as in cat, and it feels like Kleenex on my teeth to hear.
Fair enough.
Tonk.
So any new...
It was tank.
Any new theories? Any new theories before we wrap up?
Increasingly certain of actual ghosts.
Oh yeah, actual ghosts are definitely going to be a thing down the line, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember from episodes I'd seen in the past, but it feels like it would definitely be a thing. For some reason, I get the vibe that ghosts somehow relate to me, but I don't know. Anyway. You were saying, Cass?
Seems like a good place to wrap up then, I think.
Alright. This has been Teletran 4, aka Tip.
And Cassandra.
And Dusty.
And signing out. See y'all next time.
See ya.
See ya.